99X in the Morning X, Barnes and Leslie. Leslie, we're going to go behind the bit. We're going to go, it's after the bit. Not behind it, but after the bit in just a second.
Are we going into a dark room?
It was a conversation that sometimes they get so fired up that the conversations, even when we end the segment, people just go on and do it themselves and they leave it on our voicemail. So we need to revisit a segment.
Okay, well, speaking of revisiting segments, the Morning X podcast. We've got some classic stuff from back in the day. You know, interviews that maybe you never heard before. Do you remember we interviewed Dennis Rodman?
Yes, he was out there.
Out there. Well, that is on our podcast. And of course, new stuff as well. So if you want to listen to the Morning X podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, check it out. We talked back in the day to Dennis Rodman.
You know, Leslie, we get tens of downloads a day.
10. Sometimes 11.
10, 15 downloads a day. So please follow the little show that could, the Morning X with Barnes and Leslie podcast. Okay, we had a conversation recently about your Atlanta passport, and there's only so much time in a segment. So I love that some of these segments take on their own life after the segment. Yeah. And literally people talk to the voicemail like we just answered and said, hey, you're on the air, and they start talking, which I love. It brings us the ability to have after the bit, which this
anytime is. Talk to us anytime.
There were several left. I want to get your opinion on some of these. These are all people as the bit ended. They kept going. And these are all submissions for the Atlanta passport, which this passport, if someone looked at it, would know you're authentic because you had this stamp in it. Some of these are arguable, I believe. Here's the first one.
Hey, my name's Matthew, calling from Alpharetta. I would say Rupert's, formerly Limelight, and then something more current, Georgia Aquarium, of course, and then shout out to the old Gold Club right around the corner there. All right, cheers.
So some of those you can't get stamps anymore, but what do you,
Yeah, Rupert's was infamous. It was across the street from us, remember?
Yeah, no, when I came to town, I lived in that Hampton Inn right next door to Rupert's.
We did a lot of stuff there, but Gold Club? Come on, that's a staple.
Given, but the aquarium?
I don't know about the aquarium, but I think he had 2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's not really authentic Atlanta. Here's another one.
Jennifer, and from Marietta, on your Atlanta passport, you need the big chicken. Thank you. Have a good day.
I mean, that's a landmark that you definitely should see. Is there really anything to do there?
No, but I think it is a landmark. I thought somebody had already brought up the big chicken, but no, we should put that on the list.
I don't know. Maybe so. Here's one that I don't know. I don't know. This is all just talk. You know, some things catch fire.
Yes.
I think. You tell me.
Daniel from Atlanta. If you're talking about Atlanta passports, I've seen this restaurant featured on TV shows all over the place. It might be a deep cut, but I don't think you're really from Atlanta if you haven't gone to Fat Max Rib Shack at least once and ordered more than you could eat by accident.
Well, yeah. I do feel like, I don't know.
Is that, I guess it qualifies as a passport item. I've never understood the hype. I did try it.
I actually just thought of one.
What?
The pink pig.
I mean, that kind of put that in the same boat with the big chicken.
The chicken?
Possibly. Here's one.
Hey, this is Erin calling from Decatur, and I think the number one thing for me on the Atlanta passport has to be the Elvis Shrine inside the Star Bar in Little 5 Points. Thanks.
Well, I think just the Star Bar in general, right?
Well, Star Bar needs to be on there, please.
Yeah, 100% that one needs to be on your passport. Yeah. Let's keep it going.
Hey, this is Drew from Ackworth, Georgia. For the ATL passport, church has to be on there. It's one of the hottest spots to go, and once you go, sometimes it's literally a religious experience. Shout out 99X.
I don't know if church has earned it yet, though. It's so new, right?
It's kind of new. I mean, we're talking, we've had some landmarks, and then maybe it's a future one.
It could
be. A future passport?
I agree. We're on the same page, though. That could be a future passport. Keep it going.
Hey, this is James. I'm calling from Fayetteville. Responding to your question about passports, the stamp you got to have on your passport, I'd say Netherworld. Netherworld Haunted House, man. There's nothing like it. I used to work there years ago. So definitely got to go to Netherworld if you're in Atlanta around this time of year.
But everyone's got a haunted house.
Was Netherworld like one of the OGs?
I just don't know. Every city has got their version of that.
I do remember that being like one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, not that we're the ultimate jury, just the opinion.
Yeah.
A few more. These are ATL passport stamps after the bit. This went on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, without our permission, you people keep bidding. Here we go.
Hi, this is Janine from Griffin, and you're asking about places that proves you're an Atlantan. How about the 688 Club that shows how old I am? Thanks.
Yeah, that one should be on. That was before my time, but I know of the history.
That should definitely. Thank you for reminding us of that. I do love this. People are actually helping us remember stuff.
Was that here when you came?
No, I don't remember it, but I know about it.
All right, 3 more.
Hey, this is Lisa from Decatur, and one of the places on the Atlanta passport should be Starlight Drive-In Theater.
That was kind of before my time also. I remember it vaguely, I think, up just inside 285.
Let's put that on there.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to put on there. I mean, it's just our passport. I guess give it the stamp.
Yes.
I feel like this next one was already on.
What's up? This is Homer Foster, and I live in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. And if you go to Atlanta, Georgia, and you don't go to the Claremont Lounge, where did you go, really, though? Where did you go? Go to the Claremont.
I feel like that stamp is already there.
Well, I think we talked about Blondie, but if we didn't talk about Claremont, it should be on there.
Yeah.
I liked him, by the way. He was cool.
Absolutely. And we have one more emotional one. And
emotional?
Yeah, and if you got to go to this, you know. It's like if you know, you know.
Hey, this is Sean from Dallas, Georgia. I'd love to add one important 99X item to the Atlanta passport. Sean Demery's Swinging Velveeta Lounge. If you didn't attend that in the 90s, you missed out. We miss you, Sean.
Those were the days.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did sum it up. We miss you, Sean. The Velveeta, we used to have those stadium seats. We used to have a live audience in our show. We did that on Fridays, I think.
Yeah, and we used to, sometimes we would do live performances. Live X actually started in the studio, and we realized kind of need to move it to a real studio.
Anyway, after the bit, there you go, locking it down. Your Atlanta postcard stamps. I can't even speak. Passport stamps. Fram, the phone is blowing up, literally dancing on the table still.
Still dancing in the moonlight.
For the Atlanta passports. How do we officially shut this thing down? I don't know. Hey, Morning X, good morning.
You guys omitted the biggest one of any place you have to go in Atlanta.
The biggest passport stamp? I mean, I think we covered every single thing. What did we leave off?
No, you missed the biggest passport stamp. Johnny's Hideaway.
Oh, you're right.
Johnny's
my
Hideaway.
goodness.
You're right.
How could we forget Johnny's Hideaway?
Man, how long has that place been there?
Like 44 years.
You know exactly?
Just a lucky guess.
Who is this?
The owner of Johnny's Hideaway.
Okay, I felt like someone who drops a 44 like that. It's not like, 40 years, 44. What? So you own Johnny's Hideaway?
Yes.
What's your name?
Chris Doria.
Chris Doria.
Chris, I feel like we've all met you before.
Have we?
Yeah, well, I was GM of this place on Roswell Road. Somebody's husband was my boss. Lanny, West.
Oh, so you worked at American?
You were at American Pie.
Yes.
Oh, and now you own... So you've not owned Johnny's Hideaway since the beginning?
No, I'm 55, so no, I didn't buy it when I was 11.
Oh, well, you never know. It is Atlanta. It is Georgia.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Dude, you must have stories.
Yeah, but regular people hear this, right? This is just a private conversation, so most of them aren't fit for public consumption,
Oh, no.
I guess.
We have a button that we can, if we need to censor anything, we can censor it. What you got?
Okay. Weirdest one or best one, or there's...
Do tell anything.
Best celebrity one, I guess, would be, there's been a lot of celebrities, but the most fun one, I guess, would be Cuba Gooding Jr. came in wearing, this is germane to the story. He was wearing a black T-shirt, black slacks, stayed till closed. At that time, we closed at 4 o'clock. He left about 4:45. Next day, my buddy calls me, turn on with the Fox Game of the Week on baseball, and Cuba Gooding Jr. was throwing out the first pitch in St. Louis wearing a black T-shirt and black slacks.
So he went straight from Johnny's Hideaway there.
Unless he is like the Fonz and has this, a bunch of the same outfits. He didn't get any sleep.
All right, what about things that have happened inside Johnny's Hideaway? I'm going to be honest, I've never been in there.
Well, it's only been around a couple years, so maybe once it's been around established, you can make it in there.
But I know what it is. I'm not a big nightclub person, and so I just have never been in. I've heard great things about it, though. Everyone has a great time from what I hear when they go.
Yeah, it really turned a corner when the city forced everybody to go non-smoking. That was a big game changer as far as the people that I bump into. I'll never go in there. I can't stand the smoke. I don't want to reek of smoke. I don't want to wash my hair every morning after I go in there. So since we went non-smoking, it's really been, the weekdays have gotten much steadier and it used to be a weekend destination and everybody went there when they were drunk at the end of the night. Now it's kind of leveled off as far as during the week is good as well.
Does the place still look the same?
Yes, it's expensive to keep buying the same stuff over and over that they haven't made in 30 years. So yeah, we spend a little more than we need to on certain things that, certain chairs that are relics that, were fashionable in the early 80s. We still have them today, even though they're, when people come in, they laugh and go, are you going to upgrade? Are you going to update any of that stuff? No, not really.
We're talking to Chris, who just called us, owner of Johnny's Hideaway, to tell us that we missed a glaring one for the Atlanta Passport. Have you ever received a call, I'm sure you have, but where a massive stars people have called over and said, hey, we're bringing so-and-so in tonight, and here's what we need? Anything like that?
Actually, that happened when he was in here filming a few months ago. Harrison Ford's people called. Oh. And one of his... I don't think security, I would say, maybe one of his handlers came in and walked around and said, no go. It's too crowded.
Oh, wait, so they came and did like a presidential walkthrough and scoped you out and said...
Kinda. I don't know presidential, but anytime Anthony Mackie's in town filming, he always comes in with a couple guys. But the Harrison Ford one was good. Mark Cuban comes in. Anytime the Mavericks are in town playing the Hawks, Mark Cuban comes in the night before, the night of the game, or after the game.
And just holds court? I mean, does he act like a normal dude? Mark's been on our show a bunch of times. But does he... Who does he come with?
Last time he was in with Charles Barkley. But, Charles lives here, so...
Oh, yeah.
Who have you met that, a celeb that you've met that you were a big fan of at Johnny's Hideaway?
The only time I've gotten starstruck, and it was pretty bad, it was right after it started, so in the late 90s, this guy came in a little bit shorter than me. Had a hat pulled down at that time. We didn't let in any hats at all. And he had a hat pulled down. It was a Tuesday night. And I said, sir, unfortunately, you need to remove your hat. And he looked up and it was George Clooney. And I said, you can keep your hat on.
Wow.
So,
George Clooney can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So
wow.
He stayed for a couple hours, danced. He had two regular women that come into the club, and regular women, not, working women, two regular women. And they were just showing him the city and everything. It was so funny. I comped his tab. His tab was like $50. He tipped the server $100, which was great. On the way out, I said, Mr. Clooney, I know you get this all the time. Is there any way I can take a picture with you and one of my managers? It only goes up on the walls here. We don't release anything to the press or media or anything. And he said, sure. And one of the girls said, George, we really need to go. Will you shut up? He just picked up the tab. At least I can do a picture. Oh,
wow. Okay. And late 90s Clooney. That's big time Clooney.
Yeah, probably 98, 99.
So any other big celebrities pop in?
Yeah, we filmed Richard Jewell there.
And the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he was there. John Hamm was there. The cast from that movie was in there. And wow. it was so bad. That was one of the worst days for me because I was out of town during the filming, because generally when they film, they close us for an entire day or 2, 3 days, something like that. So I was there and my landlord was there, and Clint Eastwood, they started a conversation. He said, well, tell me some history of this place. It's been here a long time, right? And so my landlord's blowing up my phone. Get back in town. Clint Eastwood wants to talk to you. And I said, and I didn't have my phone on me or anything. So of course, when I got all the messages, I was said, oh, what an idiot. I'm never going out of town when we film again. Yeah. So it would have been nice to interview with Clint Eastwood.
Such history at Johnny's Hideaway.
We talked about how this segment just couldn't end. I think this is an official ender. I think now that we left such a glaring thing off, thank you for pointing it out, Johnny's Hideaway. But one last stupid question. Who is Johnny?
Johnny was the original founder. He passed about over a decade now.
But who was he? Johnny who?
Johnny Esposito Sr.
Johnny Esposito Sr. So he owned it for all those years, and then you bought it from his family?
No, he was there for a few years in the beginning. Then he moved to Florida, tried to franchise them. Then he came back, and it's been a whole ownership to do up until I got there in '97.
Well, congratulations. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Well, thank you for calling us.
Thank you.
Cool story. I'm going to have to go pony up with a Tito's and get some more stories now that this may be my breaking in party to Johnny's Hideaway. Nice to meet you, man. All right, Chris, we'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie. 99X.